Item number 7 is extraordinary business. Now, we do have an item of extraordinary business that we're going to deal with as part of the unitary plan process in confidence, and I move for the reasons of urgency that we take this item in discussion with the chair of the unitary plan committee and the small group who have the delegated authority to make some quick decisions. We thought this would be better actually brought to the committee. So I'll move, seconded by Councillor Philip Heiner, that we accept this as, I see you Councillor Casey, that we accept this as extraordinary business to be discussed as part of the unitary plan set of issues, and we can't discuss it now because we'll be discussing it in confidence. So we can simply discuss the acceptance of the extraordinary business. Councillor Casey?
You have to be kidding.
No, Councillor Casey, you're well aware that Eden Park is in the mediation process. We need to be able to discuss what our next stage of that mediation is.
We don't have to discuss that in committee today without me having seen what the content is.
And you will see it when we get to the meeting.
I'm moving to defer this until we've seen the content of the extraordinary item.
Well, councillors, I'm sorry, but you need to understand as we, every month, the chair of the Unitary Plan Committee, myself, Member Ngamani and Councillor Darby have been delegated authority, and we're doing this pretty much every day. In the evening, early in the morning, we're meeting and making some very urgent decisions on the Unitary Plan mediation process. We're putting a lot of time and energy into this on your behalf. Sometimes issues feel that we have the delegated authority to make these decisions. When evidence needs to be presented at the hearing tomorrow, we need to do this urgently. We have no chance to defer, otherwise we have no viewpoint, and I think, councillors, you won't be happy with that. The real issue here is we've made the decision that this is important. We know, Councillor Casey and Councillor Fletcher, how critical this is to you, so we're bringing it to you so you can participate in the discussion. That's why we're doing it.
Can I finish?
I don't think we can be fairer.
Am I allowed to speak?
Of course you are.
Okay. I don't believe for 1 minute that the information that you're about to present couldn't have been presented to at least the ward councillors and the local boards before today. I don't believe for 1 minute. So I don't accept the reasons that you are putting this up as an extraordinary item. I don't accept that.
And that's your prerogative to believe or not believe.
And so I've moved that we defer it, and I have a seconder.
You do. So, councillors, we can either make a meal of this or we can simply vote one way or the other. But I don't know whether it's helpful at this stage to ask John Dogood to explain the time frame that we're dealing with.
But if you want to interrupt again, that's fine.
No, councillor, you asked a question.
I didn't ask a question.
Normal order of business is that we have the opportunity to explain, rather than just leap to decisions, we need to explain to the councillors what the process is. So, John, would you just like to explain the urgent nature of this item?
And perhaps, John, you could tell us when you got the information that you're about to present to us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And councillors. So the evidence on behalf of Eden Park Trust was received from, I think, Wednesday to Friday last week. Council's rebuttal evidence or response to the evidence from Eden Park Trust and others on this unitary plan topic was due on Monday this week, so we're now late in terms of filing our rebuttal, and the hearings start next Wednesday. So there is a very, very tight timeline between receiving comprehensive evidence from submitters, analysing that evidence, forming a position, discussing that within a wider team, including lawyers, planners, etc., pulling something sensible together to then bring to either the delegated for or a committee meeting. So it's been an extremely tight time frame. The report was literally only finished last night. And that's essentially the timeline we're working to, unfortunately.
We received the report at 2 a.m. this morning. So
I didn't.
Our staff, so that we can actually give it. We can give it to you. So, councillors, I see we've got a forest of hands now. We cannot discuss this issue in public, so I just need to caution people. And at the risk of repeating myself, we're bringing this to you today we chose not to uplift our delegated authority to make this decision because Councillor Casey and Councillor Fletcher, we knew that you would want to be part of this decision. We cannot change the time frame that requires evidence to be presented and us to have a position on this. This is the mediation process that we are not in charge of, we are participating in. So I just need you to really understand that. It's been moved and seconded that we defer this. I think we just need to vote on that, otherwise we can go round and round and round the houses. It's got a mover and seconder, and then should that fail, there's the moved by myself and Councillor Filipaina to accept this as extraordinary business. That's all we're doing at this stage. So I'll put Councillor Casey and Councillor Fletcher's recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
By division.
Okay.
That was very close. I'd have a division on
I
that. Thanks.
have to say,
Division, thank you.
councillors, that was pretty clear on voices, but if we want to spend another
Voices.
5
My
minutes
hand
doing...
up, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's do it by division.
But, Madam Chair, I did have my hand
Oh,
up
sorry,
about this
Councillor Walker.
amendment before it was even
So
put.
did I.
So
It is a procedural motion, and we're, you know...
you
this
can
is
speak
not-
to a procedural motion, Madam Chair.
You can, and
Division has been called.
we're right in the middle of a division.
Yep.
So let's move on. Division.
Councillor Anai.
No.
Councillor Brewer.
4.
Councillor Casey.
Yes.
Councillor Cashmore.
No.
Councillor Clow.
Yes.
Absent.
What's happened to Councillor Clo's voice?
No. You have to change your voice skill.
Councillor Filipaina.
Against.
Councillor Fletcher.
4.
Councillor Crum.
Against.
Councillor Lee.
Aye.
Councillor
No.
Penrose. Councillor Quacks.
4.
Member Taipani.
Aye.
Councillor John Walker.
No.
Councillor Wayne Walker.
Yes.
Councillor Watson.
Yes.
Councillor Wood.
No.
Deputy Mayor House.
No.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, democracy is alive and well and living in a council.
Councillor, I heard that.
Oh,
And
you were meant
have
to. That's
I
why I said
have
it
to
over.
take, I have to take exception on behalf of my colleagues. We had the delegated authority to make this decision without reference to our colleagues. We have brought this to the table to allow our colleagues to participate in the debate. I call that democracy. If
I
you don't, we
no,
have
I
a
don't.
different...
If I'd been
No,
talked
that's
to on
good.
Monday
Right.
that this was coming, perhaps,
Okay.
or Tuesday or Wednesday, but not Thursday, and not certainly not to be put on the table at the meeting in 2 hours' time. I still
And-
haven't seen it.
Chair, can
Jolly
I
good.
just ask one question? Sorry. I mean, if the issue that we've been discussing, maybe it might be better just to take it through to the delegated 4.
Well, that's the...
Well, I mean, it may be better if we did.
That's what I'm trying to explain, that if we
Well,
cannot get a
that's why I'm
decision
making-
today,
Exactly.
then it falls to Councillor Darby, Councillor Filipaina, myself
Exactly.
and Member Ngamani to make the decision.
It was
So,
either that or not, so
indeed,
I might end up moving
there we
the
go.
amendment.
So
but I
let's
won't.
just all take a deep breath. It'll be, it's not without its stress, which is why we're asking for your advice. Councillor Walker.
Just have a question to Mr Dogood. So just in terms of the immediate time frame, when do we have to get back? What latitude have we got? How many days?
Through the chair, we're already overdue. We're past
Monday,
the
so-
ideal date for responding to the evidence. The evidence and evidence of other submitters was late in this case.
Sure.
So council's evidence will also be late. It was due on Monday.
How late can the evidence be?
The hearing starts on Wednesday, so you're getting to the point where it's unfair, unreasonable on other submitters if council's evidence is any later than it already is.
Okay, so that's one issue, which is the issue around timing in terms of responding, and I don't know how late we could be. The other issue just goes to our role, and I have no problem in principle with stepping it up in terms of the involvement of a larger group of councillors. Having said that, I completely agree with the comments that Councillor Casey was making. We should have had information around this earlier, because this is a very complex issue. It's substantial. It's very significant. And I know, because I've been involved with the unitary
Point of
plan
order, Madam Chair, point of order.
to date.
Madam
I'm speaking
Chair,
to the
a
matter.
Point of order.
Don't want to be accused of being undemocratic. Councillor Wood, your point of order?
We've actually moved past the deferring, and Councillor Walker seems to be still talking about deferment, and I think that he's out of order in carrying on with that debate
I
when
think
it's been finished.
he has had his say. So we are now starting to enter into a much wider debate that needs to be had when we're talking about the item. So I am going to rule that we've had the discussion, unless there are genuine questions.
Well, I just have another
Your
question
point, I
about
understood
the
your
item.
point. No, well, you can't, Councillor.
Would it at least be possible for us to have the information on our tables
Councillor,
earlier
yes.
in this meeting than later, so that we can read it if we want to,
I'm sure.
rather than just being
2 o'clock.
tabled
2
whenever?
o'clock in the morning they got it, Wayne.
Well-
Think about it.
Okay, hang
I'm
on.
just suggesting
Councillor-
that I've got some time at
2
lunch
o'clock in the
today.
morning.
At least I
Councillors-
can read something.
Councillors, just calm down a little bit here. We've got our staff working, as we said, till 2 in the morning on evidence. This is not unusual. This is a normal day at the office for our staff working on the unitary plan. I think they endeavour to service us as well as they can. If we can get that for you, Councillor Walker, it'll be done. So let's
So-
make that happen.
So
I've got-
I'm making the assumption, Madam Chair, that if we do accept this as an extraordinary item,
Yep.
that the officers have prepared the information, and I and other councillors might get it well before the item this afternoon, whenever that is.
Let's do
Thank
that
you.
then. Now, I've got Councillor Fletcher, Watson and Penrose. I'd like us just to get to the moving of the extraordinary item. If there's anything new to add, please do it. Councillor Fletcher.
Well, Madam Chair, I would have liked to have spoken to the amendment, but I am going to refrain from talking about the content in terms of Eden Park. But I have to say that on anything to do with Eden Park, I always feel ambushed by the process. I can accept that you receive this information or the officers receive this information at 2 a.m, etc., etc. But then I'm told that you've got the delegated authority, but no, you want to see us have this information. In an extraordinary situation like that, and it's extraordinary as opposed to ordinary, I would have thought there would have been some heads up to Councillor Casey or myself. The first I know of this is now. And, you know, it is not going to come as any surprise to you that I have been very unhappy with the whole unitary plan process, that I believe a whole lot of backroom deals are going on that leave a very
Councillor-
bad taste in
Councillor,
my mouth.
I'm sorry, I'm going to call order on that one. I can see the media now scribbling furiously. Whilst that might
what
be
you
how
wanted.
you feel,
That's what you want.
that is exceedingly inappropriate. Our staff are working on our behalf, taking guidance every step of the way.
I am
and
not
I
offending
rule that,
staff, I'm being rude to you.
And I don't, you be rude to me anytime. You are on a daily basis, and for that I am deeply grateful. But however, when you cast aspersions on the staff,
Not casting
I will
aspersions
not
on the staff, Madam
tolerate
Chair.
that, councillor. I will not tolerate that. They are dealing with a legal process that is extremely complex and dealing on our behalf with a range of challenges that I can see that even we would struggle with on a daily basis. I will not
Point
have
of
the
order,
staff's
Madam Chair.
integrity
You
impugned.
are putting words into my mouth that were not there. The aspersions were being cast on the way in which this is chaired and the delegations that are being exercised.
And I accept that, and ideally I would have rung you and Councillor Casey to have alerted you to the fact that this was going to be an extraordinary item. I
got
take
up pretty early in the
responsibility for
morning.
that. And I will make sure that we do that in future. I'd now like to move on and move the extraordinary item be accepted. It's been moved.
You did
Division.
indicate- You indicated if you
Division.
And we-
speak.
I move the resolution be put.
Councillor Filipaini, you move the resolution be
Yes.
put.
We
Is
haven't
there
had
a-
3 speakers.
Oh, hang on a minute.
I'll second that, Madam
I've
Chair.
had, yes, we've
Point
had
of order.
councillor.
You cannot move.
Hang on.
Order, Madam Chair.
You cannot move that procedural
Hang
item.
on, hold
You've
up.
spoken, both of you.
Hold up there.
I haven't spoken.
I've
on
no.
this.
Wow,
I
here
haven't
we
on
were
this.
thinking it was going to be a quick morning. No, to be fair, Councillor Casey, Councillor Fletcher, Councillor Walker talked to the amendment. Councillor Walker, councillor Fletcher were speaking to, I
Thank you.
presume, the recommendation. So councillor Filipaina has not spoken to the recommendation.
Thank you.
However, we've only had 2 speakers.
Thank
and
you.
we
Oh,
should
yes, he
have-
has.
No, we haven't. Think about it, Mike.
Philippine has spoken to it.
No, we haven't.
After 3.
I
So
think I would
councillor
know.
Watson, you're safe. You can talk and then we'll put the recommendation be put.
Okay, I mean, at the risk of stating the patently obvious, in a matter such as Eden Park, I thought there would have been an awareness that had to be handled in a more appropriate fashion than has been the case thus far in terms of this process. You've already mentioned that the 2 local ward councillors should have been consulted, but what should have gone with that, whether it was 2 o'clock in the morning or not, every effort should have been made to have had that agenda item before the councillors this morning, and with an explanation as to the process. That hasn't happened, and I suppose if this had been the first instance of something like this, people might have been a little bit more acceptable, but it's not. It's part of an ongoing trend. So like the other councillors, I take great objection with the manner in which such a significant item has been handled.
Okay. No, that's heard and understood and accepted. Not ignored, councillor. We are bound by some very, very tight timelines. If people are unhappy, we'll do our best to do better, but we can't change the timelines of the unitary plan or the panel, nor the requirement for evidence to be presented. So I'll put the recommendation that the motion be
Division.
put by division.
Councillor Nye?
He's gone to the bathroom
Yeah.
again.
Wait, is this for, is this for?
This is for the motion to be put.
This is for so this is just the procedural motion. This is not the accepting or not accepting of extraordinary business.
Councillor Brewer?
Aye.
Councillor Casey?
No.
Councillor Cashmore?
Yes.
Councillor Cooper?
For
Councillor Darby?
Or
Councillor Filipaina?
For.
Fletcher?
No.
Councillor Crum?
for
Councillor Lee?
no.
Councillor Penrose?
Yes.
Councillor Quacks?
Yes.
Councillor Stewart? Not here.
EG.
Member Taipani?
For.
Councillor John Walker?
For.
Councillor Wayne Walker?
No.
Councillor Watson?
No.
Councillor Wood?
Yes.
This is just a procedural.
Deputy
motion.
Mayor House?
Yep.
Aye.
It is carried by
Okay, so that's
12 to
carried.
5.
So we'll move straight on to the substantive motion, which is that we
Division.
accept this as an extraordinary item
By division.
by division.
Through you, Madam Chair, I just have a
No, you
question.
can't speak.
Division's been called.
This-
Okay.
Councillor Brewer?
No.
Councillor Casey?
No.
Councillor Cashmore?
Yes.
Councillor Clive? Not
No.
here. Councillor Cooper?
Yes.
Councillor Darby?
For.
Sorry?
For.
4.
And I just walked in.
Councillor Filipaina?
Aye.
Councillor Fletcher?
No.
Councillor Crum?
What?
Councillor Lee?
No.
Councillor Penrose?
Yes.
Councillor Quacks? Member Taipani?
No.
Councillor John Walker?
For.
Councillor Wayne Walker?
No.
Councillor Watson?
No.
Councillor Wood?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor House?
Aye.
And I understand Councillor Anai?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Fair enough, too.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1,
Democracy,
2,
cool.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay,
It is carried by 9 8,
all right.
9 votes to 8.